Okay, for 1 through 7 on page 40 here, we're finding slope of a line with a given graph or just given two ordered pairs. And so with the graph, you can either count your rise and your run, like I've done here, or you can take the ordered pairs that they give you and plug them into the slope formula. It's really easier when you're given a graph to just count the rise and run, and I'd rather you do it that way for right now, just to get practice with counting that. Okay, so you can either go up 3, left 1, like I did here, giving me a rise of 3, a run of -1 since I'm going to the left. It gives me a slope of -3, or I can go down 3, right 1. Okay, that would be a -3 over +1, which would still give me a slope of -3. Okay, same deal here, rise 4, run 5 for a slope of 4/5, or I can go down 5, down 4, left 5, which would still give me a negative over a negative and a positive slope. Number 3, I have a horizontal line. All horizontal lines have a slope of 0 because I'm not moving up and down. I'm only moving left to right. So I have 0 as my movement in, or the change in my y, and then I'm going to have some value for my change in x. But since there's a 0 in the numerator, I'm always going to get 0 as my slope there. Okay, so for 4 through 7, I'm just labeling my points, plugging them into the slope formula. So you can take a minute here, pause the video, take as long as you need, talk to a neighbor, check through your work, make sure you're understanding how to use the slope formula. Be careful when you're plugging in negatives, okay, and remember that when you subtract a negative, you're adding the opposite. So just go back, check all your work, and see if you can find where you made your mistakes, if you did make some. Alright, so for 17 and 21, we're doing the same thing here. You've been given the slope and 3 out of the 4 coordinates, so you're still using the slope formula, still labeling the points like you see here, only now when I go to plug into the slope formula, I'm plugging in slope, and then I'm going to be missing one of these 4 values over here. Okay, so I can simplify this 5 minus 3 to get 2, and r minus -4 is r plus 4. Alright, and then at this point I have a proportion. Cross multiply to solve your proportion. 1 times r plus 4 is r plus 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract 4 from both sides, and r is equal to 4. You can always go back and plug that in here, and then find the slope between the two points, -4, 3, and 4, 5, and make sure that when you find that slope, you get 1 over 4. Okay, and then 21 is worked the same way. Your slope gets plugged in for m, and then we plug in all of these values that we can, and then simplify here to get -1, cross multiply, and solve. Okay, so pause the video, take as much time as you need to look at this work and see where you made a mistake. Talk to your neighbor, and if you have any further questions about this stuff, as always, you can message me on Schoology. Alright, this last problem, number 25. A daily newspaper had 12,125 subscribers when it began publication. 5 years later, it had 10,100. What is the average yearly rate of change in the number of subscribers for the 5-year period? It's asking me here for a rate of change. So that means I'm going to be finding the change in one value as compared to the change in another value. And I want the change of the subscribers compared to the 5-year period. Okay, so the first thing that I need to find is what was the change in my subscribers, and then the change in the years, the time, I already have is 5. Okay, so basically what I'm finding is how many did it go down per year? Okay, so I've got how many did I start with minus how many did I end up with. Okay, this is the change in my subscribers, and then I'm going to put that over the change in my years, which is 5 years. So then I do 12,125 minus 10,100. Let's see what that is. 12,125 minus 10,100. Okay, that gives me 2,025. And then I'm going to divide that by 5 to get a rate of change of 405. Okay, so what this means is I started with this many subscribers, let's say in 2010. And then every year from 2010 to 2015, my subscribers went down 405 until in the year 2015, I ended up with 10,100 subscribers.